Well, earlier I asked the Scottish Justice Secretary, Kenny MacAskill, what was so compassionate about releasing a man who'd murdered 270 people.
Well, this is a unique situation. I'm quite clear that he showed no compassion to those that he slaughtered above the skies of Lockerbie. 270 lives were lost, 11 from one small Scottish town. But the law requires me to consider an application for compassionate release, and that I did. It's quite clear that he has less than 3 months to live on the basis of the medical evidence available to me. In Scotland, justice has to be tempered with compassion, even to those who have failed to show any compunction or compassion to us. But as well as a justice system, we seek to have values by which we seek to live.
Mr MacAskill, can you explain what's so compassionate about releasing a man who murdered 270 people?
Well, I've made it quite clear that no compassion was shown by him to them.
But
I've also made it quite clear that
you have shown to the victims who might expect he served more than 11.5 days per death.
Well, I am conscious that the pain and suffering started on the 21st of December 1988. It started when an atrocity was perpetrated above the skies of Lockerbie, taking 270 lives. Nothing that I or anybody else can do can assuage the pain and grief felt by those who have lost their nearest and their dearest.
You could keep him in jail. That's something which might assuage the pain.
Yes, and that's been argued by many. Equally, I'm conscious in Scotland we have a justice system that says a judgment must be imposed, punishment has to be given out. Equally, we recognise that we have to have the ability to balance that with compassion and with mercy. I've said to you, I recognise that he did not show that to our people.
11.5 days per murder. Is this your compassion?
In Scotland, the sentence is given by the court. I don't interfere with that. They gave him a life sentence with a minimum sentence of 27 years. And I've made it quite clear. I supported the Scottish police in their investigation, the Scottish prosecution in their bringing of the court case, and the Scottish judiciary in bringing in the judgment. Equally, I recognise now that he has less than 3 months to live. He's a dying man. I'm allowing him to go home to die with his family. He did not show that to 270 people. I accept that. But simply because he failed to show any compassion does not mean that we should give up the values that we seek to live with and that we seek to view as defining characteristics of the Scots.
Your value of life is 11 days per life. That's your value.
The sentence... No, the sentence in Scotland is imposed by the court. That is how it has always been. They impose the sentence.
The court didn't sentence him to 11.5 days. It sentenced him to at least 27 years. Why shouldn't he simply die in jail?
He has been given a sentence that no court in Scotland could have imposed. He's been given a sentence of a terminal illness that no court in any land, in any jurisdiction, can overrule or revoke. He's dying. I recognise that he showed no compassion. I recognise that he perpetrated an atrocity upon my land. Equally, we have values that we seek to adhere to, and simply because he failed to show us any compassion or compunction does not mean that we should debase or deviate from the values that we seek to live up to. We seek to treat people as we wish to be treated.
So when David Cameron says this is nonsensical thinking, when the White House says it deeply regrets it, when the US Secretary of State says it's simply you're wrong, when the US Attorney General says you've shown no compassion for the families, this is entirely inappropriate, you still think you're right.
This is my decision and my decision alone. It's based upon the laws and the guidance that we have in Scotland for compassionate release. Ultimately, it falls down to me. I've been given evidence that he has less than 3 months to live. I recognise, as I say, that he showed no compunction and he showed no compassion. But we have values, and on the basis of that, I am allowing him to go home to die.
But this is clearly a day which will go down in history. You are the first SNP Justice Secretary ever, and you've released the worst killer in Scottish history.
And I have done so on the basis of following due process, of considering the laws and the guidance, and of accepting that in Scotland, justice has to be tempered with mercy. That there is a sentence imposed upon him, how I don't know, but it is terminal, final and irrevocable. And on the basis that we are people who pride ourselves on our humanity, I am prepared to show to his family what he failed to show to ours or to the Americans, and he goes home to die.
Mr MacAskill, thank you very much.